Welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy my new stories every day. Every Saturday was the same. The alarm buzzed at 7 a.m., a pot of coffee brewed by 7:15, and by 8 o'clock, Emily and I were on our way to the local tennis courts. It was our ritual, our little escape. What began as a shared hobby slowly evolved into something I looked forward to all week. However, the atmosphere changed when Emily hired Alex, a coach, to improve her game. I didn't mind at first, her enthusiasm was infectious. But then, the practice sessions started to stretch longer, and sometimes, they didn't involve me at all. I pushed the nagging thoughts away until the day I decided to surprise her with an early lunch at the courts. The sun was high, casting short shadows on the pavement as I approached. Laughter floated through the air, too carefree, too intimate. Rounding the corner, the sight before me felt like a physical blow. There they were, Alex and Emily. He was standing close, too close, his hand audaciously sliding under the hem of her white tennis skirt. And Emily? She was laughing, her face lit up in a way that I hadn't seen in a long time, her cheeks a rosy pink. My heart sank, and a cold numbness spread through my veins. Emily. My voice was sharper than I intended, a whip cracking through the air. They sprang apart, their guilty expressions confirming my worst fears. Emily stumbled over her words, a flimsy excuse hanging in the air, dissipating like mist. Mark, it's not. How long, Em? My voice was calm, too calm. It's not what you think, she pleaded, her voice trembling. I turned to Alex, who held up his hands defensively, his earlier audacity gone. Look, man, Don't look, man, me. I snapped, cutting him off. I couldn't stand there a moment longer, absorbing the deceit. I walked away, the sound of Emily calling after me blurring into the background noise of my own betrayal. The ride home was a blur of red traffic lights and honking horns, none of which registered. My mind replayed the scene, each detail etched painfully sharp in my memory. Days turned into weeks. The image of them together haunted me, shredding any remnants of trust. My heart had turned cold, hardened by betrayal. Emily's apologies and pleas buzzed around me like flies, annoying and persistent, but ultimately inconsequential. I was done. The divorce papers were drawn up swiftly. In my mind, there was no room for reconciliation. I planned each step meticulously, ensuring that in the aftermath, Emily would be left with little more than what she brought into our marriage. Her financial dependence on me had always been her safety net, one that I now cruelly snatched away. I watched from a distance as her life crumbled. She moved out of our upscale apartment into something far less grand, her social circle dwindling without the allure of my presence. Even her beloved tennis sessions became a memory, the membership fees and coaching expenses unaffordable on her own. As I signed the final divorce papers, the lawyer gave me a curt nod. It's done, he said, and I felt nothing. No sadness, no regret, just a hollow victory. Emily tried to reach out once, a trembling voice on the other end of the phone, quickly silenced with a click. It was the last I heard of her. The tennis courts now lay in my past, a chapter closed as tightly as the life I once shared with Emily. I had won the final set, but the game we played left only ruins in its wake. Weeks after the divorce, the aftershocks of Emily's betrayal still ripple through my life. Though the sharp sting of discovering the affair has dulled to a persistent ache, the anger simmers beneath the surface, fueling my actions. Today, I plan to confront Alex. The need for answers, for closure, gnaws at me. I find him at the same tennis courts where I first caught him with Emily. He's there, lobbing balls over the net with a mechanical precision. I march toward him, my steps firm on the green surface. Alex. I call out, my voice steady despite the adrenaline pulsing through my veins. He turns, surprise flickering across his features before settling into a guarded expression. He stops his practice, approaches the net, and wipes his brow with a towel, feigning calm. "Mark, I didn't expect to see you here," he says, his tone cautious. "I bet you didn't," I retort, closing the distance between us. "We need to talk." He nods reluctantly, gesturing to a nearby bench. We sit, the air thick with tension. "Look, Mark, I know I owe you an explanation." "An explanation?" I cut him off, anger coloring my tone. "You owe me a lot more than that, but let's start with why." He sighs, his shoulders slumping slightly. "It wasn't planned. It just happened. Emily and I, we got close, and things escalated." "That's your excuse." "It just happened." I scoff, feeling a bitter laugh rise in my throat. "You knew she was married. You knew she was my wife." "I know, and I regret it," he admits, meeting my gaze. "It was wrong, and I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix what you broke." I snap, the memories of that day flooding back, the pain as fresh as ever. "I understand if you can't forgive me." "I truly am sorry, Mark." His apology sounds sincere, but it does nothing to quench the thirst for retribution. "You'll be sorry," I murmur, more to myself than to him. The conversation ends shortly after, with nothing resolved and my anger still simmering. As I leave the courts, a plan begins to form in my mind. If words won't give me peace, maybe action will. The next few days are a blur of preparation. I dive into the legal aspects of what I can do to make him pay. I explore every avenue to disrupt his life as he did mine. Through mutual acquaintances and some digging, I find out about his upcoming coaching certification renewal. A few calls, carefully chosen words, and hints at questionable integrity are all it takes to put a dent in his career. The day of his certification review, I wait outside the building, a silent observer. Hours later, Alex emerges, his face clouded with frustration. Our eyes meet, and a flicker of understanding crosses his features. He knows I'm behind this. He starts toward me, then stops, the resignation setting in. This is just the beginning, I promise myself. Emily may have been the face of the betrayal, but Alex was the enabler, and he'll learn just how devastating the consequences can be. As I walk away, the first true smile in weeks plays on my lips. Revenge, it seems, does have a sweet side. The weeks that follow are marked by a relentless pursuit of justice, or what I deem justice. Each day I wake with a singular focus, to dismantle the remnants of Alex's life piece by piece, the way he helped dismantle mine. The seeds of chaos I plant are beginning to sprout, and today, I decide to confront Emily again, needing to see the impact of my actions firsthand. I drive to her new apartment, a modest building in stark contrast to our previous upscale home. I hesitate before I knock, my heart pounding with a cocktail of anger and anticipation. The door swings open, and there she stands, visibly thinner, her eyes shadowed but defiant. "Mark. Why are you here?" Her voice is weary, resigned. "I came to see how you're living, Emily. To see if you understand what you've lost," I say coldly, my gaze sweeping over the sparse interior visible behind her. She crosses her arms, a protective barrier. "I lost everything, Mark. Isn't that what you wanted?" "I wanted fidelity. I got betrayal." My words are sharp, each one laden with accusation. "And you think I'm not paying for it? You think I don't know I made a mistake?" There's a tremble in her voice, a crack in her facade. "You called it a mistake," I scoff, stepping closer, driven by a need to see her crumble. "A mistake is forgetting to set an alarm, Emily, not sleeping with someone else." She flinches, as if my words are physical blows. "What do you want from me, Mark? Haven't you done enough?" "No," I reply without hesitation. The word hangs between us, heavy and ominous. Silence stretches, filled with the weight of our broken past. Finally, she steps aside, a silent invitation into the sparse living space that now defines her life. As I enter, the simplicity of her situation strikes me. Gone are the trappings of the life we shared. In their place stand second-hand furniture and the air of desperation. She watches me survey the room, her eyes wary. You look like you're struggling, I observe, the satisfaction evident in my tone. Isn't that what you wanted? She retorts, her voice gaining strength. For me to struggle, to suffer. I wanted you to feel a fraction of what I felt, I admit. To understand the pain you caused. And I do, Mark. Every day, I live with that guilt, she confesses, meeting my gaze with a sincerity that almost pierces my vengeful armor. Good, I reply simply, the bitterness resurfacing. Her phone rings suddenly, shattering the tense atmosphere. She glances at it, then back at me, a silent question in her eyes. I nod curtly, and she answers, her voice shaking slightly as she speaks. After a brief conversation, her face pales. That was Alex, she says after hanging up, her voice barely a whisper. He's lost his coaching license because of rumors that trace back to you, isn't it? I don't deny it, the truth evident in my unflinching stare. Why, Mark? Why not just leave us to our consequences? Why push further? She's almost pleading now, the fight draining from her. Because sometimes, consequences need a helping hand, I reply coldly, the satisfaction of my revenge now mingling with a creeping sense of hollowness. I leave her standing amidst the ruins of her new life, the door closing with a quiet click that seems to echo louder than expected. As I walk back to my car, the hollow victory gnaws at me, a reminder that the destruction of Emily's and Alex's lives hasn't rebuilt mine. I drive away, the emptiness settling heavier with each mile, a stark contrast to the burning crusade that fueled me here. The question of whether this path of retribution will ever truly be enough lingers, unanswered. As autumn strips the leaves from the trees, my campaign of vengeance against Emily and Alex reaches its zenith. The colder it gets outside, the colder my scheming heart beats. It's been months since I've initiated this path, and today, I'm ready to unveil the final act of my revenge, a revelation that will sever our ties forever. I invite both Emily and Alex to meet me at a neutral location, a secluded cafe downtown, under the guise of settling everything once and for all. They arrive together, cautious but hopeful, perhaps believing in some possibility of forgiveness, of ending this vendetta. They couldn't be more wrong. Mark, why are we here? Emily asks, her voice hesitant as they sit across from me. To end this, I say flatly, my eyes locked on hers before shifting to Alex. I've decided it's time to move past this, but not before we clear the air completely. Alex nods, looking relieved. I appreciate that, Mark. I'm truly sorry for everything. Their eagerness to believe in absolution strengthens my resolve for the final blow. From my briefcase, I pull out an envelope and slide it across the table to them. Inside this, you'll find the extent of my retribution. Consider it my parting gift. Emily opens the envelope, her hands trembling. As she reads the contents, her face drains of color. Alex takes the papers next, his eyes widening in disbelief. This is a fake paternity test, he stutters, looking up at me in confusion. It says you aren't the father of Emily's upcoming child. His voice is a mix of shock and accusation. I watch the fear flicker in Emily's eyes, and I savor the moment. Oh, but it's not fake. The test is real, Alex. Congratulations, you're going to be a father. Emily gasps, her eyes darting between the paper and me. That's not possible. We were careful. It was just a mistake. A mistake that turned into a lifetime commitment, I say coolly. But why? Alex looks defeated, the weight of the revelation crushing him. Why? I lean forward, my voice low and menacing. To show you both the real cost of your actions. To bind you to each other in a way that will remind you every day of what you did. Emily starts to cry, her sobs muffled by her hands. Mark, please, this isn't humane. Neither was what you did, I retort sharply. I stand, ready to leave them to their twisted fate. Consider our ties cut. This is where your deceit leads you. Together, bound by a lie and a truth too heavy to bear. As I walk away, their pleas fade into the background, drowned out by the rush of my pulse. Outside, the crisp air bites at my skin, but inside, a fire burns. I've scorched the earth behind me, ensuring nothing could grow there again. My revenge is complete, but as I walk the busy streets, a new emptiness begins to gnaw at me. Victory feels hollow, and I'm left wondering if the cost of vengeance was worth the price of my own soul. As I disappear into the crowd, a stark realization dawns on me. In my quest to punish them, I had unwittingly punished myself, binding my own wounds with salted bandages. The final deception wasn't the one they committed, but the one I told myself, that revenge could make me whole again. I walk on, a ghost among the living, haunted forever by my own merciless heart.